Hello, Mister. I wanna ask you if you got any kind of interest to write. It's necessary for me to save my life. A documentary about German politicians who prepare to place the devil inside my body. It feels since 37 years that Mr. Mengele is inside my body. And since those Nazis from the Wehrmacht build up a wireless connection to that embedded chip inside, they use software program to get inside the brain cells and program them. And those Nazis who are on control, having access non-stop, 24 hours a day, connected to certain kind of brain cells. I wish those German Nazis death sentences for all the crimes those Nazi rats did in the past. And they start in November 87, transfer videos they programmed and stimulate them inside my dreaming cells. And they decide what time they send them. And the first video was in November 87, and they scare me. I was seeing blood inside the programmed video, and I stand up in the bed, and I couldn't get out of the room where I was. And that time they start. So, and at that time I start questioning myself, is that able? I never heard about techniques that can use to terrorize humans, programming videos and transfer those videos inside the dreaming cells. And that time Mr. Kohl were German Chancellor, and we had a defense minister, Mr. Manfred Werner. So, after that, more things happen and happen and happen, year after year, year after year, until today. Today, for instance, they torture me with 6 or 7 movies in one day. In the morning, when I fell asleep, I will wake up after 2 hours. At that time, they stimulate 2 different videos inside the dreaming cells. And then I swallow some sleeping pills, and I slept about 2 hours, and again they stimulate 2, 3 different videos inside the sleeping cells. Then few hours later I fell asleep again, and those Nazi rats stimulate again two different movies inside my dreaming cells. And the worst thing is that I lose a lot of things out of my memory. And those fucking Nazis behind the computer machine, they are now doing that for 37 years. Can you imagine that? And they don't care, those Nazi politicians. And you know, the constitution in Germany say every 4 years we have a voting, and every 4 years the minister, defense minister, inside minister, the health minister, they change. But those who are working on that machine, they remain in front of the computer. And if you are interested to write a documentary, do that before I'm gone. And when they step inside the sleeping cells, they start in 1993 to keep me awake. They start with 3 days and 3 nights, later on 4 days and 4 nights, and in 1996 they kept me awake until I fell in coma. I couldn't sleep for 7 days and 7 nights. At the same time, they start spreading those lies that I'm schizophrenic, that I'm mental sick. And they succeed to place me because I was walking on the street and shouting, and few people should perhaps hear that. I said, "You dirty Nazi rats." And then the police come and put me in a mental hospital. And that day I wasn't sleeping for 3 days and 3 nights. So I shouted at them because I know that the men at torture, they don't have to torture, but they enjoy that. And these Nazi rats are not police, not a prosecutor or something. Those Nazi rats are military Nazi rats. And the things which they did during that long time, I wish those Nazi rats death sentence. Really, I do. Because the software program they execute, it's not only torturing inside a coma, it's also raping in the dreaming cells. One time they place a lawyer, which were a lawyer on my devotion case, inside the dreaming cells, and I was suddenly in her car. We drove the streets, we went up the stairs in a hotel room, and we landed on a bed. That woman was Antje Bamberg. That happened in 1996. Yes. And that in reality never happened. Yes. And a lot of years before, they programmed a daughter from a neighbor. I don't know, she was age of 7 or something, or 6 or 7, and they place her inside my dreaming cells. And we had sex together in the dream. It started, in the beginning, I couldn't see anything except spreaded legs where I was slicking. And after a while, I'm sorry for that, but that's the reality. And after a while, just before the dream ended, they show a face of that lady, not lady, the child from the neighbor. So they raped me inside the dreaming cells with a child. The time I was married and had 2 children. And after that, 1993, I went on a vacation to Turkey. And just before I went to Turkey, they stimulate another virtual dream inside my dreaming cells. I was sitting under a railway bridge with my son on my legs, and a train were coming, and the train were getting louder and louder and louder and louder and louder. So in that dream, first I put my hands in front of the ears to protect my son from that ugly noise the train were making, and then I couldn't stand noise anymore, so I took my hands away from my son's ear, put the head between my legs and protect my ears from that noise. That was maximal level, and I didn't know what was behind that in 1993. And in February 1996, those Nazi rats starting talking with a crew. I don't know how many they are in that Nazi lab, military Nazi lab. That's a genetic Nazi lab, a military genetic lab. Yes, they do also research on genetics, and they do things like that. Look at my tongue. The last 2 years, those Nazi rats stimulated on my tongue. I know that. It's not inside my genetic structure. They do it. They did it. And if I'm not afraid of those Nazi rats, I wish them death sentence for the things they did. And there are so many crimes until today. And now we have a defense minister called Pistorius. He is the head of those Nazis. Yes. And the last 2 years, one of those Nazis behind the computer, the time we had another lady defense minister, Miss Lambrecht. That time, those Nazis, one of those Nazis, talk inside my listening cells. Since February 1996, those Nazi crew terrorize inside the listening cells day and night until today. And 2 years ago, when Miss Lambrecht were defense minister, one of those Nazis asked me, do anything. Don't sit around in your home. Huh? Yes, go working or something. But those Nazi rats keep me awake whenever they want. Yes. And that happened so many times when I want to go to work. Yes. They keep me awake 3 days and 3 nights. So I can't work anymore. And even if they don't keep me awake, they send videos inside the dreaming cells and terrorize in the night. And in 1996, they use some kind of picture. It was like an album. They placed pictures inside the dreaming cells. It was like a photo album. And that album were 30, 40 or 50 pictures at once within few seconds. But each picture was a bullet like a machine gun. That time I was sleeping in my bed, 1996. And really like a machine gun shot inside the head. And the liqueur went red and mixed with blood. So the damage, they create an aneurysm. And I was bleeding few hours later. I was bleeding out of my left ear. And there are so many ugly crimes those Nazi rats did. And I want to go in court to Den Haag. But those Nazis are still inside my body and torture, also today. And if you find any kind of way, just come close to me. And I don't know if we or if you succeed to reach any kind of change, because that Nazis see through human eyes. They have my entire life in front of the computer. Actually, they are docked, placed inside the seeing cells. Yes, they see through my eyes. They got my life in front of the computer, the dirty Nazi country. Yes. And if that's not ugly enough, oh, they put me into war a few days ago, and the German soldiers smashed me on the ground using a flashlight, a spot, and then they shot at me. because those Nazi rats, they want to start a war, move to Ukraine, what they support the Ukraine. I think those dirty Nazi rats shouldn't grow and take another country where they place birth control pills. No, I hate these Nazi rats. I hate Nazi Germany. They never change, those Nazi rats. Yes, they still have Hitler in their mind. Yes. First, the Gestapo, they place an embedded chip inside the body, and then the Wehrmacht, they build a wireless connection to that Mr. Mengele. Then they program, they torture and terrorize inside the listening cells day and night. They torture inside the smelling cells, and then they mention, if you smell that, run as quick as, escape as quick as possible from that place. Things like that. And those Nazi rats, in 1996, they torture inside coma. And I want to go. That time I wanted to go to the ceremony. And when they start talking, in the beginning, the first days, I couldn't stand the talking inside my listening cells. So I smashed my window on a wall. But they don't care. They keep on talking until today, those Nazi rats of the military. And the strange thing is, when they torture me, keeping me awake, I went to the police. But the police, I mean not the police, in Germany the police can investigate, but who gives the order to investigate is the prosecutor. And in Germany, all kind of prosecutor, up to the highest prosecutor, called Generalbundesanwalt, they close. They don't investigate in that kind of things. Can you imagine that? There's no police, and the Nazis going on and going on and going on, developing genetic weapons, developing biological weapons. Yes, I hate this dirty NATO because they let the Nazis doing whatever they want with human beings. How can that be? Just because they are a member of the NATO gives those Nazis the right to developing embedded chips, biological weapons, and genetic weapons, research on genetics inside, and transfer genetics from others' bodies inside my body. Yes. And the crimes they did. They placed me on a volcano, that I look to the volcanic activity, and then they torture me, let the volcano detonate, and I flow with a volcano in the air, or they put me in a room, in a house, and then the earth is shaking, and all the stones fall on my body, and I were swimming underwater. Then they place I don't know what's the name in English. Uh, and I look at a fish with a woman like a fish underwater. She's swimming, and I look, and then I don't get any air. I can't stop breathing, and I want to get up to get some air during the time I'm diving, and I never reach the air that I can breathe. No, I dive and dive and dive and dive. I don't show up. This electronic waterboarding, those Nazi rats using. And I wonder if those German Nazi rats work together with American Nazi rats. Because in 1993, I was in Turkey for 5 months, having a vacation there. I travel with my sleeping bag, with a tent on my back, and I walk. I just want to see the culture, and there I met some people in Adana, and they invite me to stay in their home. Was very friendly people, and I stay there for a few days, and in the evening I listened to a voice. Was one voice in American language said, "Close that door." Huh? That time I had experience which those Nazis did with me for 4 years. Remember? Start 87. That was 1993. Close that door. I was in a room, and it was very hot that evening. So that was a balcony door, and the door is open. And I said, I don't take any kind of military order. I was suspecting that those dirty people were military employed, having access to brain cells. And 2 days or 3 days later, I was again an ugly dream inside the dreaming cells. I was sitting on the ground and felt real depressed. I don't know why. Just was a depressed moment, and then I look in front of me. There were again, and I just took the gun and shot me twice in the chest, and then I was awake. No, that torturing dreams those Nazi rats did. And there are thousands of crimes those Nazis did in the past. And the worst thing, I lose a lot of things already out of my memory, things I never can find again. And those Nazi rats keep on dialing, keep on robbing my thoughts, keep on having forced conversation inside the listening cells. And I have to listen to those Nazi voices. And those Nazi rats get paid by the Nazi government. I wish them all that Nazis in that computer, that lab, where they create, if they work together with American friends or not. I wish them death sentence. And those Nazi politicians who run those labs as well. And that's Mr. Pistorius at the moment.